Nicholas Copernicus was a scientist back in the early 1500s, and he had a really, really crazy idea. His idea was that the Earth went round the sun. Now, if you were living back in the 1500s, you would think this was utter nonsense, because if you had asked anybody, they would have told you the exact opposite. The Earth clearly doesn't go around the sun goes around the Earth. But you would have been wrong. And no matter how many people thought that the sun went around the Earth, they were all wrong, and Copernicus was still right. What can we draw from this? The first thing is that an idea, no matter how popular, no matter how many people believe in it, is not necessarily true. And the second thing is that it's very difficult to change public opinion, because it was over 200 years later that people were able to accept the very simple fact that the Earth went around the sun. But this is sort of an immaterial point. We live in a world that isn't all about right and wrong, science and reason. Or do we? I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. You and I live in a democracy. And in this democracy, we elect people who make decisions for us. And the most popular decisions are the ones that we take. Now, given what I've just told you about majorities, this is a little worrying. Because every single decision that has ever been made in a democracy has been popular, yes? But it hasn't necessarily been the best course of action. You might say to me that, well, Gary, people are fairly intelligent sometimes. They can make good decisions. And I say, no, they don't. There's a very good reason why. There is a pressure on you all, sitting in this room right now. You might not know it's there, but it's there. And it's called groupthink. It's the pressure to conform to the crowd. It's the pressure to think what everyone else thinks. And it's a very dangerous pressure when you're trying to make a very good decision. Now, what's the solution here? Or if there is a solution? I honestly think there is one, but it requires us all to accept a very simple fact. You are responsible for what you think. By that I mean, I cannot change your mind. And none of the speakers in this room can change your mind. In fact, you are the only person on earth who is capable of changing your mind. And that's great. That is wonderful. Because you're a human being who is able to critically think about what they believe. And if we all do this, if we all are able to critically think about points without going to the crowd every single time for a solution, then we might end up with a better democracy, a democracy where we can make better decisions without worrying that the popular vote will just steamroll its way through anything that will actually work. So when you go home tonight, if you go home, I hope that you do, I want you to do something. I want you to do something very important. Take a thought, any thought, something that is very widely held, and I want you to do two things. I want you to apply logic and reason to it. You may have heard of them. And if you find that this thought works out, it checks out, good, that's great. But if you don't, then you have to pursue it further. And if you do pursue it further, if you go down that line of reasoning, and you find out that there is an answer that is far better, a solution that is far more appropriate, then you have not only used your brain for what it was intended for, you may have just changed human history like Copernicus did, because you are carrying the torch. Thank you.